She got all excited for a piece of moi. Is she about to do it for the second fois? Yeah, she likes to taste the coconut la croix. We go fa la la. Baby, I get nervous at the thought of you. Every time you cry, you know my eyes turn blue. And I still have fun even though I'm confused. We go fa la la, fa la la. We go fa la la, fa la la. We go fa la la, fa la la. We go fa, fa, fa la la. You love me, little more. You got me feeling.
Hello friends, it is I, James Kalm, half-assed reporter, the guy on the bike, and we are back in West Chelsea. And I've been waiting for a couple of weeks to get back in here to see a show here at VITO SCHNABEL. Stay tuned. Oh, thank you. And we're going to take a look at an exhibition by Giorgio de Chirico. Horses, the Death of a Rider. Well, we'll make our view of the installation. I was in here 2 weeks ago for the opening, and I'll tell you a little story about that as we progress through the show. I think this is a very important and timely show. It's certainly museum quality, if you ask me. We'll start looking at this. I think this is the earliest piece in the show. Cavallo e cavaliere sur una spiaggia. Horse and cavalier on the beach. It's 1926, 1927. And, well, I love this piece. There's a certain kind of rugged touch to this. And all these pieces have, like, extraordinary frames on them. So this is 13 by 10. Well, Giorgio de Chirico was of Italian heritage, and he was born in Greece. I think that his mother and father were a duke and duchess from Genoa, maybe. This is More Horses on the Seashore, 1926. (13 by 10). And I guess these pieces would actually be considered some of his later work after his very well-known Piazza in the afternoon paintings and his interiors and his mannequin paintings. Okay, this is Two Horses on the Seashore, 1935. Well, I guess de Chirico's father died when he was about 17. The mother moved back to Italy for a year or two, and then she went with Giorgio and his brother, who changed his name to Alberto, I think, Saravino, and they moved to Munich so that he could study there. Death of a Rider. This is 1937, 1938, 20 by 24. And I guess that while Giorgio was in Munich, he came in contact with some of the German symbolists, German mystical painters like Arnold Bulkin and Franz von Stuck. It's a certain kind of German romanticism, maybe fading into symbolism. The boar hunt. And then at some point, Giorgio takes off and goes to Paris and starts meeting some of the influential people there. Among them were Goulon Apollinaire, the great poet-critic, and André Breton. Oh, this is a great little piece. Squire with horses. Well, the Surrealists hadn't really manifested themselves yet, so a lot of people saw Giorgio as someone who was kind of maybe extending the kind of symbolist imagery and mixing it in with his own take on classical art. This is ancient horses and rider, 1930. So Giorgio's in Paris. He's hanging out with the avant-garde art people. André Breton sort of picks him up and champions him as a proto, they didn't know it at the time, but as a proto kind of surrealist, I guess. De Chirico actually admits that he was very much influenced by Nietzsche. This is 13 by 18 inches. And that way the central figure is painted reminds me a lot of late Renoir. Well, okay, so I'm going to tell you about what happened at the opening. I came in, I was pedaling around Chelsea, and I didn't know what was going on. I happened to pedal by, and I looked in, saw they were having an opening, so I came over on my bike. Thought I would do some video, because I'd heard about the show, and I thought I would get some video. Anyway, I looked through the window, and there was a bunch of people that were sweeping out water, and evidently somebody upstairs had power washed the floors, and the water leaked down. At no time was any of the paintings coming close to being dampened, but it was a very surrealistic experience, because it was like walking around in a reflecting pool, and everybody was drinking champagne. I asked Vito, I said, "Are you going to keep the show going?" They said, "Yeah." So the show must go on. This is titled Horses on the Seashore with Greek Temple. I actually was in front of this and was yakking a little bit with Julian Schnabel, Vito's dad, and I kind of saddled up and says, "Well, what do you think? Is this kitsch or not kitsch?" And he kind of looks over at me and kind of goes, "Not kitsch." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "I think it's kind of kitschy." He goes, "Well, that would have a tendency to make it think that it was bad." And I said, "Not to me." And then he said, "Well, that all depends on how you define kitsch." He was pointing at this section here and talking about how great that was painted. And I said, "Well, yeah, I can agree with defining the term kitsch. I don't see it as bad. I see it as transgressing aesthetic taste." And he kind of smiled. And I said, "But the other part to it is, I mean, look at the tail on that horse. You'll never see a tail like that on a real horse." And he looked at me and said, "Hold it. That painting is reality. What you see in the painting is the real thing, and anything else outside there probably is not real." Also, I was thinking that one of the derivations of the word kitsch comes from some German word that means stamped out, like they make the little tin toys that are stamped out. And I thought that this red horse looked kind of like a stamped out tin toy moving along. Horse and Figures by the Sea. This is 23 by 31. Now, if you get into the history of Giorgio de Chirico and the Surrealists, you find out that although Andre Breton kind of championed him in the, I guess, mid-teens, late teens, after World War I, he kind of goes on a jag and decides that for some reason Giorgio has lost it, and they start to denigrate him. Of course, they were trying to set up their own little power system with the Surrealists. This is actually a very nice one. I was talking about the horse tails, and well, there's so much tail there, it made me think of, this relates to kitsch. This is Combat of the Puritans. This is a beautiful piece. This is from 1955, and wonderfully painted. And I think at some point, maybe in the 50s, he started to get more articulate, and his lines become a little sharper. The forms are less fluffy, fuzzy. Also, I was going to say, a lot of these figures make me think of his mannequin paintings. And even in this painting, he's got a lot of various kind of modes of representation. He's got these kind of grisaille figures, or kind of like sculptures. He's got this very worked on torso kind of laying across the shield, all laid in that landscape. I was thinking, getting back to the mannequin pieces, I bumped into Marcus Stabi here at the opening, and well, he's been riffing on de Chirico for most of his career. Nights Over a Bridge, 1948, oil on panel. I think one of the things you don't really appreciate, if you were to see these pieces in a photograph in a catalog or something, is the glazing and the overlays of paint. And I guess that de Chirico spent a lot of time in various museums. I think people even made fun of him for trying to sustain a certain kind of masterly painting technique. And kind of the way that he's painted some of these figures makes me think of Canaletto. Roman Landscape. It's 1948, and this is also oil on panel. I was chatting with Fong Gui in front of this painting, and he said he thought it made him think of Poussin and Canaletto. Also makes me kind of think of an El Greco landscape, but it's on wood. And as I was saying, there's a lot of glazing. Also, I'm wondering if this is darkened with age. I'll tell you, these two figures down in the foreground with the horses are very interesting. Oh, that's quite a nice wagon we've got there with some barrels on the back. I was going to say, it makes me think of Claude Lorraine. This is 39 by 82. Fawn kind of joked like you would see this over the bar at an Italian pizzeria in Brooklyn. Battle at a castle. Well, as I said, Andre Breton took it on himself to try to tear down de Chirico at some point, and de Chirico just kept painting, and he went through a couple of different phases. So he started out with his palazzos at sunset. He had the pieces with the mannequins and the still lifes. He had the interiors. He did a whole extensive series of self-portraits, and he did the horses. This is oil on canvas, 20 by 30 inches. Okay, this is a very active piece. And I'm getting some echoes of Paolo Uccello, but okay, his brushwork is a little expressionistic, but he does capture a certain quality with the horses. And I was scanning some things, and I happened to get on a website where they were showing several examples of horse paintings. I guess some painting about something on the road to Damascus. I don't know, with St. Jerome or someone has a conversion. And so there were probably 15 or 20 paintings of horses, and well, suddenly you realize that well, there's a lot of ways of depicting horses, and the horse is not a horse, of course. That's two horses on a seashore, 1970. So I think this is the latest piece in the show. As I was saying, it was kind of interesting to see how de Chirico kind of sharpened up his images in the late work. It's oil on canvas, 35 by 27. And I also think that no matter what Andre Breton tried to do, that Giorgio de Chirico basically established himself as a master of modern painting, a proto-surrealist. I think he actually called his work pittura metaphysica, metaphysical painting. And, well, I'm glad I had a chance to see the show. This is a good one. This is Horse and Zebra on the Seashore, 1963. Well, I just bumped into another painter I've known for probably 15 or 20 years, Susan B. She asked me what I thought of the paintings. I said, well, you tell me. She goes, it's kind of kitschy. So I wasn't the only one that had that impression. However, I do think that it takes a lot of courage for someone to kind of push the envelope on aesthetics like that. And yes, the front part of that horse is kind of interesting. Okay, so this is called The White Horse. It's 1926. And I would say this is a really nice example of just kind of distilling down your subject matter. I mean, he's got some cliffs and things there that could be from Arnold Bucklin painting, and yeah, the horses have not been too eroticized. Beautiful brushwork. I think the other thing that I think is kind of interesting is that they're calling this the death of a rider, and well, because de Chirico studied in Munich, that was where the Blau Riders got started. So this has been James Kalm reporting on Giorgio de Chirico, Death of the Rider, here at the VITO SCHNABEL Gallery on 19th Street in Chelsea. You can like this, share. Link it up to all your social media sites. You can leave your thoughts, ideas, comments, criticisms, and reviews and suggestions below, and you can subscribe. And I would like to dedicate this episode to the memory of Bill Brady. He passed away this week. A guy that ran a gallery called ATM, and I've been bumping into him for about 20 years. And with that, we say, thank you, Kate. Thank you. Tell us your name. What is it? IRO. IRO. Okay, thank you.